Welcome to night number 139 of History Bedtime Stories in our pajamas in bed. And tonight let's talk about Dexter Mason Ferry and the DM Ferry Seed Company. Dexter Ferry is not a born Michigander or a born Detroiter. He's actually born in New York on August 8th of 1833. And he attends school in New York. He's very much an East Coast man. In 1854, he moves to the city of Detroit. And once he gets here, he's really hired on as sort of a catch-all intern errand boy at the stationery firm of S.D. Elwood and Company. While he's there, he's a hard worker, he's smart, he's proactive, and he's promoted to salesman and then bookkeeper. Being a bookkeeper made him enough of an income that he was able to kind of sock some money away. So in 1856, just 2 years after arriving in Detroit, he saved up enough money to buy a little tiny piece of a seed business that was owned by M.T. Gardner and Company. And he comes on as a junior partner. His senior partners, both within the next 2 years, leave. One partner he buys out, the other partner chooses to retire, and through this, Ferry now owns the full company. He renames it the DM Ferry Company, and he starts really becoming the biggest innovator that gardening and farming had ever seen in America. He starts changing the way seeds are sold. He doesn't sell dried out seeds, only fresh, which means people are getting better yield from their crop. More of those seeds are germinating and producing fruit or flowers or vegetables. And as he starts doing this, he realizes more and more people following the Industrial Revolution are moving into towns, cities, and neighborhoods. And not everyone is gardening on acre after acre of land. People are gardening on a home, backyard, maybe side lot level. And Ferry thinks, I've got an idea. Instead of packaging seeds in huge commercial quantities, what if we package seeds for the local family who's maybe moved from the farm into a city and still wants to grow food for maybe their own use or a little bit of trade and barter with the neighbors. So he starts selling these smaller seed packets and then has the best idea: mail order. Mail ordered seed catalogs like the DM Ferry catalog go out at the beginning of spring, pretty early on in the new year, and you could simply mail in your request. It would go to a distribution center here in Detroit, and it was from there that all the mail orders of all of these seeds were sent back out. Ferry catalogs are actually very collectible today because they have these beautiful images on the front. As he continues to grow the business, by 1879, he's able to incorporate, and he absorbs another company called the Detroit Seed Company. This makes Ferry president of what is quickly becoming the largest seed company in the entire nation. He continues to grow, and within a couple of years, he is doing $1.5 million of business yearly. We're still in the 1890s at this point. So that is, by modern day 2020 standards, a $10 a year business. A business making over $10.5 million a year. He is selling his seeds in 160,000 retail outlets when he has this idea in the early 1900s that he needs to brand everything. So he starts producing displays for general stores. This is actually one from the Smithsonian collection. And it wasn't just about branding the catalog, but about branding the store display so that people could go in and ask for DM Ferry seeds by name. The reputation was so good, they knew they would get a better yield and it would be a better product. He continues to build this massive wealth when a fire hits. The fire hits in 1886 and it pretty much destroys his warehouse. But Ferry doesn't even blink. He goes on, he takes the punches, he absorbs 2 other seed companies and is back to doing $1.5 million a year before the turn of the century. As we get into the 1900s, Dexter Ferry is becoming wildly wealthy, and his seed company is continuing to innovate. They released some different flowers that really set the trend for what's popular in gardens at the time. In 1889, they released the Blanche Fairy sweet pea flower, named for Fairy's daughter Blanche. The sweet pea became popular because English gardens became a popular trend here in America. Later in 1901, they release a green bean that is uncurled. Now, for all of you who eat green beans, who know about green beans, you think of them as kind of straight, maybe with a little curve. But green beans used to be pretty darn curly. Fairy scientists were able to breed a green bean that was straighter. The reason?
Straight green beans fit better in a can.
Canning was really a way a lot of Americans fed themselves, so a straight green bean, much more economical and useful than a curly green bean. And this is PR and R&D, so public relations, marketing, and research and development working together to say, you know what we need? A straight green bean. Fairy continues to grow the business during this time. He has his daughter Blanche, his son Dexter Jr., all with his wife Adeline Elizabeth Miller. Fairy. He eventually sees some pretty big honors in his lifetime. In 1874, Ferry Street is named after him in the city. And he grows into not only a millionaire, but a politician. He does try to run for governor. He loses in the 1900 election. When he dies in Detroit on November 10th, 1907, he is buried here in Detroit in Woodmere Cemetery, and there are flowers planted yearly at his grave. Now, the DM Fairy Company does merge. They merge with Morris. So Fairy Morris seeds are still available to this day and carry on the legacy started here in Detroit all the way back in 1854 when a New Yorker started as an errand boy at a really just paper and pen shop, stationery store here in Detroit. I hope you're enjoying History Bedtime Stories. If you are, give us a like and a share and a comment. If you do, we'll enter you into a raffle to win one of the 1910 Detroit Visitor Bureau button remakes. Detroit, where life's worth living. Wash your hands. We'll see you tomorrow night.